Joe Man.
What's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
Oh, nothing. Excited. Excited. This
Yeah.
is one of my favorite times of the year.
Yes, sir.
About
Yes,
to
sir.
kick into two playoffs running simultaneously. So I love
Mhm.
it. I love it.
Yeah. Talking about the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs. And usually, we do our pick'ems and we do our brackets. But unfortunately, when we're recording this, which is Thursday the 18th,
18th.
today is the last night of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Still, I mean, it's kind of clear, but there's still,
Mhm.
some
Yeah,
some moves that can be
the
made.
Western Conference hasn't been solidified yet. And then
Yeah,
obviously with the NBA, you got the last two playing games tomorrow. So,
exactly. Yeah. And so we're gonna we will, once the brackets come out, we will make our brackets, post them on Socratic Sports on Instagram, and then on
so
our next
follow.
episode.
I said so follow.
Yeah. And so, and then, we'll, on the next episode, we'll go over it. But right now, we just want to talk about the upcoming playoffs, and just really make some, I would say, premature picks. Most and just really like, who do we think is going to take it all in the NHL and the NBA, and just kind of gauge exactly where everybody is at this point. And again, to your point, there's in the West, there's still some juggling acts. And so, I'll let you lead the way on that one, Joseph.
Yeah, all right. I'm excited. So we're gonna kick it off with hockey. Get through that. We both have our jerseys on.
Yes, got to
We're kind of
represent
in the hockey mood.
Yeah, let's go
So
Rangers.
I am excited. To me personally, I feel with the NHL, there's really no clear cut like higher upper echelon teams. I really honestly feel that more or less all the teams that made it into the playoffs, give or take a couple, have a legitimate shot. And the records bear that out. So you've got the Rangers, your Rangers, they did
Yep.
win the President's Trophy,
Mm-hmm.
which for those of you that don't know, the President's Trophy goes to the team basically with the best record. Which I'm going to touch
55
on.
55 wins, baby.
55 wins, finished off with 114 points.
Goals.
But the Dallas Stars
Mm-hmm.
finished with 113. And the Hurricanes finished with 111. Florida finished with 110. So this was not last year where Boston ran away with it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So everybody is right there. The other thing I always found very interesting about hockey is I am a firm believer in the President's Cup curse. So the team that's won the President's Cup has not gone on to win the Stanley Cup since 2013. So over a decade, the Blackhawks were the last ones to do it. And that was during a lockout-shortened 2012-2013 season. Mm-hmm. So I personally think winning the President's Cup is actually a bad thing. But I'm also a superstitious person. So curses are made to be broken. So who knows with what the Rangers got going on this postseason, which is something interesting to chew on. So the overall point is it's really a wide open playoff race, and I am excited. There's a team I'm really high on, but we all know how usually that goes when I'm really feeling a team, like the University of Florida basketball or Auburn. So, but yeah, so right now the East is set, which is nice. So in the East, and I'm going to pull up my screen pretty soon. But in the East, we've got your New York Rangers are going to play the Washington Capitals, who, kudos to the Caps, because I thought they were like dead in the water a couple months ago, and they made this crazy push and made it to the playoffs. I think Ovi knows he's coming to the end of his career.
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, he's given it all he's got, and
Dude, I'm glad you said that too
Yeah.
because it's crazy. Because I remember, I mean, uh, if I'm not mistaken, man, this has to be what year 20 for OV. Like I think he was drafted in like
Yeah.
'04 or
He
something
was
like that.
drafted in '04. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
20. Yeah.
yeah, and so I mean, dude, he was when he came out, he was the biggest thing. But to your point,
Hmm.
like he knows, like it's I kind of like I don't know if we're on the same page here, but I think for me, I think this is do or die with Ovi. Like I think this is his last because and honestly, you're a way
Okay.
bigger hockey. Like I like hockey, but you're a way bigger hockey person than I am. So I'm not gonna sit here and BS like I'm a know-it-all with hockey.
Yeah.
But what do you know the lifespan of a hockey player? Because 20
So
years, that's a long time.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's something I always found fascinating with hockey, and something I don't know what it is. So to me, hockey is a very physical sport. I'm not going to say it's as physical as American football, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's a lot of wear and tear on your body.
Mm-hmm.
But so aside from the quarterback position, because the quarterback position is kind of an anomaly, the average career of a professional American football player, isn't it like 5 years?
Oh, I don't know. I really?
So I thought it was short, the average. I'll look that up later,
Yeah.
but it's short. But hockey players,
For so would it be short
yeah,
for certain players? Like because the
okay.
only reason I was surprised by that is because when you like a quarterback, like I mean, Rodgers been in the league since
So yeah,
probably I was born.
that's why I said quarterback's the exception.
Okay,
But
okay,
like an
okay.
O lineman, a
Yeah.
running back,
Mm-hmm.
let me average career of an American football player. See if Google can figure out my typos. So yeah, all right. So this is according to Statista.com. What that is, take it as its will. Average length of a player's career in the NFL, 3.3 years.
Wow,
So short.
that is really
Like,
surprising. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and like when you think about it and when you watch the game, I mean, it does make sense. I mean, think about it from an O line or defensive line perspective. I mean, every play, you're in the squat position and you have to erupt and like take full contact.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you take the contact out of it, that like damage that's going due into your knees,
Yeah.
I get it. Running back, oh gosh, I don't know how running backs.
Mm-hmm.
When I watch an American football game, some of these hits these running backs take, and then they get the ball the very next play. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
So I get it. But to close the loop, I mean, hockey players, yes, they're not getting hit every play, but it's a physical sport. Even, I mean, yeah, there's checking allowed, but also the sheer endurance of just going up and down the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Even if each shift lasts, a minute to a minute and a half, I mean, it wears on you. Those games are 60 minutes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's a lot of NHL players who go 15, 20 years. Perfect
Yeah.
example. So, Jeff Carter just retired today. So, Jeff Carter was a first round pick in 05,
Mm.
and he just retired today.
Mm.
So, he had a really long career, won 2 cups with the Penguins.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I'm sorry, with the Kings. He won 2 cups with the Kings and got traded to the Penguins.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know how hockey players do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Smith, who was a goalie for a very long time, 2 years ago at 40 years old, took the Edmonton Oilers to the Western Conference Finals.
Mm.
So I don't know what it is about hockey players, but they tend to have very long careers in general. So it is surprising. However, I mean, Ovi is pushing 40. I think he's 39 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say this is his last year.
Okay.
But I would not be shocked if he retires.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Jeff Carr, 39 years old. 2003, he was drafted 11th overall, and he just retired today, actually. So if it is Ovi's last stand, I think the Caps are going to make a strong push. So the way the season ended, very interesting. I was happy to see him get in. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can see what we got going on. So, like I said, the Eastern Conference is set. So you've got the Panthers against the Lightning, which is a super juicy matchup because that's the Battle of Florida, which hats off to the Panthers because they were trailing Boston pretty much the entire year. And on the second to last day, they overtook them. Boston lost, the Panthers won, and that was enough. They beat them by 1 point in the standings. Now, something I think is very interesting. If I'm a Panthers fan, I'm actually not happy that they have to meet the Lightning. I would have them rather meet the Maple Leafs. And that's just because I think the Lightning historically have had the Panthers number. But this is a different Panthers team. This is a Panthers team that made the Cup last year. They have more or less the exact same team that came back from last year, finished with a better record. So it is a different Panthers team, but this is also the same Lightning team, give or take a couple players, that won back-to-back Cups only 3 years ago.
Right.
So I think that's a very interesting matchup. I easily see that going 7 games, but who knows? And then you got the Bruins and the Maple Leafs. Another super great matchup. So the Maple Leafs haven't beaten Boston in the playoffs in a very, very, very long time. In fact, they finally got out of the first round last year for the first time in almost 2 decades. But Boston, again, if I'm a Bruins fan, I'm happy with this matchup just because I know the history. If you're superstitious, there's a huge mental game that goes into this series because, like I said, the Leafs and the Bruins do not like each other. And for some reason, they cannot get over Boston when it comes to the playoffs. And then we got your boys against the Capitals. Right. Again, we've already kind of talked about that. I'll let you chime in if you had anything you would like to add to that.
I mean, yeah, obviously I would riding with my boys. I get what you when you mentioned about the President's Trophy. That's a great stat. Didn't know that. And the last time we won the President's Trophy, I think was in 15 and 2015, and we lost in the conference finals. So I mean that doesn't say a lot, but I always feel like that President's Cup for a hot team, it just makes you. Because the one thing I honestly believe in that, especially with hockey, I think hockey is such a mental and an intense game that momentum, when you get into the playoffs, just feeling like, like you have a lot going for you leading into the playoffs. I think that kind of, makes you, kind of feel unstoppable, so to say, going into the playoffs. And that's how I kind of feel right now with them. I mean, Panarin has been playing his butt off. He's leading us in points, goals, and assists. Igor was third in wins. We were 30-11 at home. So playing at home, we feel really comfortable there. And I do feel really confident against the Capitals because I think they had a losing record being away. I think I saw that earlier. And so yeah, I'm definitely I will say the experience that we bring as far as goalies, because like I said, we have Shesterkin and then we have Quick as our backup. And so, I'm kind of like, I'm like, I'm with them. But I could tell you this much, that you know, uh, Charlie Lundgren, he's been playing like, goalie for the Capitals.
Mm-hmm.
He when it comes to, if again, I saw earlier, when it comes to shutouts, he was tied for first with shutouts. And so I mean, with him and the experience that the Capitals bring, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, go for, but I think we could, if I had to put a number to this, I'm thinking maybe like a 4-1 series sort of thing. So, but yeah, I'm riding with my boys, and yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. If I had to pick today, I would still pick your Rangers to beat the Capitals. Again, I'm impressed what the Capitals are doing. That late push in the playoffs, great. But I mean, your Rangers are also coming in pretty hot. Like they could have
Yeah.
easily slacked off at the end of the season. I mean, against the Islanders, who were like playing for their playoff lives.
Mm-hmm.
The Rangers they were losing 2-1. They came back and beat
Mm-hmm.
them in a shootout.
Yeah.
So impressive win. I'm really glad you mentioned the goalies because to me, I think obviously you talked about Panarin. Panarin's a stud.
Yeah.
I have no concern with how Panarin's going to play. I have no concern um, with how Adam Fox is going to play. My thing with the Rangers is I think if they do want to go all the way, they're going to need someone else to step up, like Lafreniere
Yeah.
or a
For
Capo
sure.
Keiko. I think one of those players that I wouldn't necessarily say, even though Lafreniere was their first overall pick,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't put him like as a star player for the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
But if he steps up and contributes a lot, I can see you guys going far. I think if it all is on Panarin's shoulders, I would be concerned with that.
Mm-hmm.
But back to the goalies, I think so. To me, I think one of the most important things to have in a Stanley Cup winning team, I think you see it time and time again, is a goalie that gets hot at the right time. So last year you saw it with Adin Hill. I didn't know who Adin Hill was until last year's playoffs. And then he took the Golden Knights all the way to the Cup.
Mm-hmm.
The year before that, Darcy Kemper, who in my opinion is an average goaltender.
Mm-hmm.
But in those 2022 playoffs, he looked like a brick wall and took the Avalanche to the Cup and got rewarded for it because he ended up getting a very handsome contract from the Capitals, actually. And so, surprise, surprise, it probably is even going to be their starting goaltender going to the playoffs. You guys have two. I mean, you got Igor, who just won the Vezina.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have Jonathan Quick,
Mm-hmm.
who, yeah, he's older, but he has turned back the clock and he's playing like the Jonathan Quick who won the Conn Smythe in 2014
Mm-hmm.
with the Kings. He's a two-time Cup champion.
Yep.
So I think that right now is one of your biggest advantages, which I'm going to back up a little bit here, is another reason I'm pretty high on the Panthers. Is, yeah, the Panthers have the star power. They've got Ekblad and Bennett. Reinhart had a career year. They traded for Tarasenko. You know what's crazy about the Panthers? The Panthers, in the 2014 draft, they have 3 of the top 4 players.
Oh, wow.
That win in the top 4 of that draft, which is like crazy. But it's paying off for them. Kachuk can turn on when he wants. But more importantly, they have, everybody knows Sergei's good. Bobrovsky, Bob's great in the net. But then Stolarz actually leads the league in goals against average. And Bob is number 3. So that's a recipe for success. To me, that's why I would fear the Panthers. It's because they have the offensive firepower, but no matter who's between the pipes, like, you should be worried. And you guys are kind of close with your goaltender situation, which is why I would not be mad if the ECF was Panthers Rangers. I think that would be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah.
So I think you guys are very similar styles of play.
And the one thing about the Panthers is, kudos to the Panthers for them being in first in the Atlantic. It's crazy how, if you look at I want to say Reinhardt was probably the only. Well, no, I'll take that back. Reinhardt um uh uh was obviously, I think, their standout of the season.
Mhm.
Maybe, I mean, he had 94 points. But if you look at all the other players on there, I'm not saying they wasn't, studs or anything like that, but I mean,
Yep.
it just seems like I'm trying to compare them. So if somebody was watching, it's like, who would you compare the Panthers to? And I'm trying to compare them to like a team that sort of like I don't know if this makes sense, but they sort of got like that Detroit Piston kind of like 04 05 with like Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, just that gut, like that they don't have a lot of star power, but these dudes play well.
Mhm.
And for me, that's like success right there. It's like they have that chemistry, that team bonding. Like, if you ever watch the Panthers play, like if I turn on the TV and I saw the Panthers play and they were down, I will watch it because I know they're gonna do something spectacular.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna figure out a way to make this win. And that's, I think, to your point, I think the Panthers are one of, if I would say, hey, who are you scared to see down the line? It would be the Panthers.
100%.
Without a
Yeah.
doubt, it would be the Panthers.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think them losing the cup last year has only fueled them again.
Yeah.
They brought back basically the same core and then added Tarasenko.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are a scary team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if there was one team that, again, I think it comes down to a mental aspect. If there is one team I would be nervous of if I was a Panthers fan, it would be the Lightning.
Mm.
So all these first round matchups, aside from like, I mean, the Hurricanes Islanders one, I'm not like, that would be the lesser of the four in my opinion. But even that one, the Islanders lost to the Canes last year.
Mm.
So, and they had to fight like heck to get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think all the Eastern Conference matchups, I don't see any sweeps. That's what I'll say. Like, I think these are at least going 5-6 games. I think most are going to go 7. So then to finish it off with the Canes and Islanders, again, the biggest thing, the headline there is it's a rematch from last year, the first round last year. The Canes did win, but I mean, the Islanders put up a strong fight. And the Islanders, another very hot team coming into the playoffs. The Canes, here's my thing with the Canes is, to me, unfortunately, they feel like the team that, like, the past 3 to 4 years, I think was their time to win the cup, and they didn't. And I feel like their time has passed. Kind of like how I felt about the Tampa Bay Rays. I guess to the Memphis Grizzlies to a certain extent.
So is this a possible first round upset?
I would not be shocked if the Islanders won. No, I don't even know if I would get, like, from a standings point, obviously it's an upset, but I wouldn't be
Yeah.
shocked if the Islanders won this. Now, I think it would take 7 for the Islanders to win.
Okay.
But so I'm excited about the Eastern Conference. And again, all those are set.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and jump into the Western Conference. So unfortunately, these aren't fully set. You do have games tonight. But the only games that matter was the Ducks against the Knights and the Kings against the Blackhawks. If the Kings win, and the Knights lose, the Kings will jump up and they'll play Edmonton.
Which I think they won.
You think they won't?
I think so. I don't. Again, you know, I had the privilege to go see the Stars play the Rangers this season. And man, let me tell you, the Stars, because I just mentioned earlier about a team being grit, like the Stars are, I mean, a team to not be messed with. If I had a favorite in the West to go all the way, I'm picking the Kings. The Stars.
You mean the Stars?
Yeah, I'm picking the Stars. I'm picking the Stars without a doubt. I mean, Jason Robinson is a stud. Wyatt Johnston is a stud. Like these, they got. Yeah, I'm, and not because we're based in Texas, but I am. Yeah, I think that Stars are again a team that I'm like, oh, like I would love to see that. I mean, Stars Rangers in the Stanley Cup Finals. I think that'd be it. That'd be a show right there. And so, but yeah, I don't think anybody want to see the Stars right now, especially in the first round. I don't think so.
So I am totally on board with you, aside from the fact of, and I'll reveal a little bit here, the Stars are not my pick to make it to the Cup out of the West. But everything else, this is a dangerous Stars team.
Yeah.
This is a different Stars team. Again, I know we already talked about it. They missed out on the President's Trophy by 1 point. Now, what's interesting about the Stars is they look amazing. They're winning, which is the most important thing. But statistically, they actually only crack, as a team, they only crack the top 5 in one major category, and it's goals per game. And they're tied with Edmonton at 3.59 goals per game average. But they keep winning.
Yeah.
So I did think that was interesting when I saw that stat, because that doesn't really add up to what I see. But it is what it is. That's why it's kind of another example where stats can be a little misleading. But when you watch them, the thing that sticks out to me most about the Stars is every single line is dangerous. So on your third line, that's when you have Jamie Benn, who's the captain of the team, who's like the heart and soul of that team. But he doesn't have to be on the first line because all these other players are picking up the slack.
Yeah.
You already mentioned Robertson. You mentioned Johnson. Rupi Hintz is having a career year. Heiskanen is unstoppable. My only thing with the Stars is, to me, I'm not worried about them putting up goals. I think they're going to score. They're going to light up the scoreboard. I am nervous about Jake Ottinger, so the Otter in the net. I don't necessarily think the moment's too big for him, but I think that's what it's going to come down to. If he can put on a show, and he can be the unstoppable goaltender and be the brick wall, I could see the Stars going far. But that's my one question mark with the Stars is I don't know what to expect from the Otter.
Yeah.
Now, I think they will easily take out, if they do end up playing the Kings, which I agree with you, I think they will play the Kings.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think tonight, the Kings and Knights will both win.
Yeah.
But the Knights already have the 1 point advantage.
Yeah, they just need 1 point. Yeah.
I think they'll take out the Kings easily. I could see, of all the matchups, I could see that being a sweep. But yeah, I think the Stars easily get past them. The Jets and Avalanche. So a lot of people are high on the Avalanche. I am not necessarily one of them. I get that the Avalanche, I get they're number 1 in goals per game. They're number 5 in the power play. The times I've watched them this year, I just haven't been impressed. I think
this. So for me personally, I think this is an even series. Like I think this is because again, to your point, with how well. I mean, I can see why everybody is on a hype train of Colorado, but again, they wasn't that far behind Winnipeg. They wasn't that far behind the Jets.
Mhm.
They if you look at like a coin flip of a matchup, I think this one is it right here.
So I agree with you there. I easily, if this doesn't go at least 6, I'd be shocked.
Mm,
Um, Again, and once again, for me, it's going to come down to I think the Jets have the better goaltender.
okay.
I think Connor Hellebuck has proven that he can win in the playoffs. Again, the Avs do not have Kemper anymore. They have, I know I'm going to mess up his last name. It's Antoine Georgiev. Georgiev.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing about him is he actually leads all goaltenders in wins with 38.
Mm-hmm.
Hellebuck's right behind him with 37, but he doesn't pop up anywhere else. So Hellebuck is number 2 in save percentage, and he's number 4 in goals against.
Mm-hmm.
And Hellebuck's he's a veteran. He's been in the league for a long time. I know what I get with Connor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm getting with Antoine in the playoffs. And I agree with you. I think this is probably the most evenly matched Western Conference series.
Mm-hmm.
But I would take the Jets right now if I was.
Mm-hmm.
I think Colorado, I mean, they still got McKinnon, who, in my opinion, should win the MVP. But I think them winning the Cup 2 years ago, that was their moment. And we're starting to get kind of on the downturn of the Colorado train. But they still got the Nuggets, so
Yeah.
they don't have to hold their head too low. So then we got Vancouver and Nashville. So this, of all the series, I think this is your most likely upset. I am loving what Nashville's got going on.
Really?
I am. I like what Vancouver has going on. And I know this is strictly my opinion. To me, while I think Vancouver is building the right way, Quinn Hughes is a stud, I think they're a little too early. They way exceeded expectations this year. And Nashville is made up of more veterans than Vancouver. You got Josie there, Philip Forsberg's there. A lot of those guys were with Nashville when they made the Cup in 2017.
Yeah.
And I think that experience overtakes Vancouver. Also, you have a question mark on their goaltender, Thatcher Demko, they're saying he's going to be active, but he just came back from an injury. So he could be a great goaltender when he's on, but I don't know what Thatcher I'm going to get from the injury.
Yeah, but I will say I kind of see where you're going. I will say the only thing that I would say that Vancouver being first in the Pacific is that being first in the Pacific is, I mean, that's good. I mean, because we're playing against Edmonton, we're playing against Vegas, we're playing against the Kings. Like you're in a division with some serious contenders.
Yeah.
But to your point, right? Not only Vancouver is doing that, but Nashville was in a division with Dallas, with the Jets, with Colorado. So I can see where you're coming from, saying that this is could be a possible upset. But again, when you're in a division that has so many great teams and you come out on top, I'm kind of, I'm like, I'm kind of leaning towards Vancouver, 50 wins, 109 points. I mean, they've had an outstanding season, and but I can see where you're coming from though, because you know, the the Predators, they've been playing really well, and they've been in a tough division, and so I could totally see it either way. I wouldn't say, because I think this is also going to be one of those tight
Yeah,
you know,
I agree. Yeah.
tight games, series that we're gonna see. So because I like your confidence, I love it.
Mm.
I just, I wouldn't be surprised if Nashville did, but I am expecting Vancouver to pull it out. That's how I'll put it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, this is it's not my favorite series of Western Conference, but I think this will be one of the more entertaining ones for sure. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm happy for Vancouver. If you don't count the COVID year, this is their first time in the playoffs, I believe, in 9 years. So they got, like I said, they're building it the right way, and I definitely think this is the beginning for Vancouver. So it's a good thing. All right, and last but not least, before we kick it over to the NBA, Edmonton and Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
So
boy.
and real quick, I mean, because what we're seeing is not solidified, it's not locked in. But we're expecting the Kings and the Knights to both win, and this stays exactly like it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm glad you brought that up then. So the question is, if it flips and it's LA against Edmonton and it's the Knights against the Stars, does that change anything for you?
Let me tell you.
So for me, it doesn't. But
the only thing is that these past couple of years, the way that Vegas has played since they came into this league, well, not into the league. Oh, well, yeah, into the league, into the NHL since they were formed. I mean, they've always, they've always just been there. I think they are. I think they have a chance against anyone. And so I wouldn't. Am I quick to pick the Stars? No. Would I pick the Stars? Yes, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like Stars right away. I'm just like,
I get you.
Stars, So
what I'll say is I would still pick Dallas.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would be a sweep like it would with the Kings. I think it would
Okay.
go at least 6.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Now, I don't know if this will surprise you. If it stays the same, no matter if Edmonton plays Knights or Kings, I'm taking Edmonton.
Okay.
So, for the sake of time, so Edmonton would be my pick to win the cup. I would roll with Edmonton. I love what Edmonton's doing. To me, they have a very 2019 St. Louis Blues feel, where they had a terrible October, terrible November, terrible December, fire the coach, and they just have gone full force. Like they have turned a key. I mean, obviously they have, in my humble opinion, the best player in the NHL right now, which is Connor McDavid.
Yeah, everybody's
but then you still have
Connor.
Draisaitl. Zach Hyman has turned it on. Zach Hyman. So Connor McDavid leads the team in points. He's actually number 3 overall in points. But Zach Hyman is number 3 in the NHL with goals. So when your best player, Connor McDavid, isn't even leading your team in goals, I think you're set up for a good run. So I am very big on Edmonton.
Okay. Yeah, so again, obviously Rangers all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, but if I had to pick like a second option, not being biased, then I think Panthers redeem themselves. Yeah, I am. I love that. I love the Panthers story where they're at right now. I would roll with the Panthers for sure.
And I agree. So my cup pick today would be Edmonton Panthers.
Yeah.
So that kind of like I would have the Oilers meeting the Stars in the WCF.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'd probably have the Panthers meeting your boys. So I think you might see 1 or 2 upsets in the first round, but more or less things are going to go kind of chalk this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. We'll see. It all starts Saturday, so I'm excited. I am ready. I'm ready to make my bracket. We'll see. I'm not going to say I'm all in on Edmonton.
No, but you're high on them.
Because I get nervous now. I don't want to go all in like I did with other teams, and then they disappoint me.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, Edmonton would be my pick to win the cup. Just because I feel like hockey and baseball, to me, are the 2 major American sports where you get into the playoffs, you have a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of the years, I mean, baseball will be a great example. Even as good as the Rangers played last year, I don't think a lot of people thought they would win the World Series when they went into the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
but they did. You know, the Nationals in 2019. You see a lot of teams that were not amazing, but solid all through the year
Mm-hmm.
go on to win the championship more often than not in baseball and hockey. So I am kind of hanging my hat on that aspect also.
Right.
I think Edmonton's very good. They're not the best record-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this is something they've been building to since 2015. I mean, eventually they're going to win, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool. All right. Well,
Cool.
that's hockey.
Yeah.
Unless you had anything else to add, I'm going to
No,
go
that's
and
perfect.
switch us to let's look at the NBA.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, my first question to you,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Carlos,
Yes, sir.
is, and I don't know what picks you have. I'm just going to throw it out there because I do think it's the most obvious question.
Mm-hmm.
Is this Boston's, even taking into account the Western Conference, is this Boston's championship to lose, more or less?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, not with me. No,
Okay.
no. I mean, obviously they're waiting to play that Chicago Miami game. So I didn't really see because I know Jimmy Butler got hurt yesterday, but I wasn't sure if
He's out.
he's out like
He's out.
for
Yeah.
oh
They
okay.
announced it.
Because I was about to say if Jimmy Butler was was playing, then that first round matchup of Miami against Boston, that's the last thing Boston wanted. But now that he's out, okay,
Yeah,
Boston
he has a
is
right MCL injury. He's to miss several weeks.
yeah,
And they say he's definitely out against the Bulls.
Okay. Again, yeah, I can see why that question came about. Boston taking the charge. I mean, cause their record, I mean, they were 64-18. The closest was the next day, was at 50-32. And yeah, Milwaukee is Milwaukee, Cleveland is Orlando, Indiana. I mean, the surprise right now for me is Philadelphia, as low as they were, but with Joel injuries, they still stayed afloat. So if you're asking me, let me take that back then. If you're asking me, is if this is the Celtics' chance to get all the way and make some to get to the NBA Finals, then yes, because I think that talent that they have against anybody else that's in this, like Milwaukee can't get it together for some reason, even with the coach change.
And now Giannis. I mean, we don't know about Giannis with that calf. I think they
Yeah.
officially announced him being out the first round at least.
So yeah, and then after that, I mean, you have the Knicks, who I mean, again, this surgence of Jalen Brunson, that's been playing well. Julius Randle has been, a hit or miss because he was hurt. I really don't know what we get with the Knicks. I mean, they're like one of their out of nowhere, like this. I can't think of his. Oh my god, Dante DeFinzio or whatever his.
Oh, DiVincenzo.
Yeah. He came out of nowhere.
The Villanova kid.
Yeah. Josh Hart. Actually, yes, that is true because him, Brunson, and Hart all played with each other, if I'm not mistaken.
I know. Yeah, I think they all. Yeah, because I know DiVincenzo went to Villanova. I know Brunson did. I think Hart did. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Hart did too.
And
That's interesting. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, is this a prime time for the Celtics to just run away with the East? I think so. But I think that's where it would stop. I don't want to spoil you anything, because we're talking about the East now, but I think this is Denver's to lose again. I'm not gonna sugarcoat. I'm not gonna wait until then because I don't want to. I don't want to sit here and say because of the Celtics record that like this is theirs to lose. I don't think so. I think this is a prime time for them to get to have a chance. Yes, I believe that. Because if you look at it, they signed who did they sign last year to a huge deal? Jay
So it wasn't Tatum, it was the other guy from Cal.
Brown,
Brown. Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown. So they signed him to a huge deal, and then obviously with I'm sure they can't sustain a lot of these players. So because if I'm looking at this right now, the Celtics literally. They signed Jaylen Brown, right? They extended Drew Holiday recently, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And then obviously with Tatum, if you look let me look real quick. So
I have the roster pulled up right now.
Okay, so Brown 31 million, Drew Holiday 36 million. Kristaps, I forgot they had Porzingis, 36 million. Jason Tatum, 32 million. And then Derek White makes 18 million, which I don't know. I didn't even know that. But now if you keep in this core, even Al Horford is making 10 million. To me, you're just throwing money at these players.
37 years old. Yeah. Jeez.
And I'm like, so is this, for me, I don't think this is theirs to win per se. I think this is theirs to lose, not for the playoffs, but just as a team in general.
Yeah.
Like this could be the downfall of the Celtics because you have all these, and personally, okay, I can probably see Tatum, making that, Jaylen Brown making that, but Porzingis?
Yeah.
Making $36 million? That's hold on now. Derek White making 18 million? Like, what are we, like, I don't know what they're, like, what are we forming here to get us to the promised land? I just don't, I don't know. And so, yeah, we'll see how far they get.
So I guess, and you kind of already answered this, I think, with your Nuggets comment. So I guess the ultimate follow-up question would be if you had to, so you had an option to either take the Celtics to win it all or the field to win it all. So literally any other team in the NBA.
Yeah. Oh, with the field. You would take the field?
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting.
Without a doubt. I would take the field. Because I think that the West is way more powerful right now than the East is. So, for example, like the Pacers play the Bucks the first round, I think.
Yep.
And the Pacers, I think, can easily take on the Bucks, but I think the Pacers is more prime to go further than any other team below the Celtics. I like the Pacers a lot. Yes, okay. I do.
Interesting.
I like the Pacers a lot. What you said earlier about, I forgot who it was in the NHL. Was it Edmonton? No.
Nashville?
No, not Nashville. Who's playing Nashville?
Wow, Vancouver.
Okay.
Vancouver,
and didn't you say Vancouver is a year too early, or?
In my opinion, they were.
Yeah. So that's how I feel about the Magic. I think the Magic is it's early too. And so that's why I'm like, even though they're the 5 seed, I'm like, I don't think so. Again, Cleveland, Cleveland debacle last year, so I'm not. Donovan Mitchell, yes, Jaron Allen. They're okay, but I just, I don't see them making much noise either. That to me, that's a toss up between Orlando and Cleveland. Knicks and Sixers. Which
that one was up top.
Yeah, the Knicks is. That's another. I don't know. So
the only thing. So I'll jump in. The only thing I hope out of this matchup, the Knicks Sixers, is I want it to be a good matchup. Like I will
Yeah.
be upset if this doesn't go at least 6 games.
Mm.
I want like on paper, I think this is in terms of the East the most competitive,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna get from the Sixers come playoff time these
Mm.
last few years. So
Mm. Mm.
same with the Knicks though too. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could, and again, and will either Miami, Chicago have a chance? I don't think so because I mean, even at home, like at home, the Celtics is 37-4 at home. Like you went to a home game in Boston and you knew you was leaving there seeing a victory kind of feeling. And
mhm.
so I don't see Miami or Chicago standing a chance to against the Celtics. Now again, once that matchup is done, obviously they will play the lower seed. And the only reason I say that is because if it pans out, let's just say that the Knicks beat the 76ers, well, then that leaves Orlando beating the Pacers, and they will play the Pacers beating Orlando, then the Celtics will
You
play
mean
the
the Pacers
Pacers.
beating the Milwaukee?
I mean, yeah,
So
sorry.
yeah,
But yeah,
no,
yeah.
you're good.
Pacers being Milwaukee, then yeah, then they will play the Pacers. And I think that's a terrible second round matchup for the Celtics, for them to play the Pacers. And so yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm glad you said that. I do think this year for the NBA playoffs, this is one of the better years in terms of I think the second round, the the I the second round may end up being the most competitive games. Because to your
Mm-hmm.
point, like let's assume Boston wins. There's a good possibility they're meeting the Pacers or even the Bucks, which could
Mm-hmm.
be interesting. And then you've got whether or not, or go even further, if the Sixers beat the Knicks, the Celtics are playing the Sixers, which could also
Yeah.
be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
you could have a Cleveland Pacers Magic matchup.
Yeah.
No matter what you get, I think both second round Eastern Conference series are going to go at least 6 games.
Mm.
So yeah, I agree. I'm probably more excited for the second round of the Eastern Conference than
Yeah.
maybe the finals would be, because I do think if Nuggets Celtics, if that's the finals, I think that would actually be a really good fight.
Mm.
But we'll see. But yeah, I like it. Anything else you want to talk about with the East
No,
before
I
we go
mean, again,
into the behemoth that's the
yeah.
West?
I would just leave it at if Butler was still playing, this would be a whole different ballgame. I think.
Okay.
And it's sad that I'm really, yeah, I think it would have definitely made a better first round
Mhm.
viewership, like watching, the playoffs. I think it would have been, but now that Butler's out, I mean, that's just, yeah, it kind of, it put a
Yeah,
little
they
wrench
might
in.
not even get past the Bulls,
Right.
but
And then the Bulls, I mean, the Bulls
they would
aren't,
play the Celtics. Yeah,
yeah,
I think
and
that
the
would
Bulls
be a
aren't,
sweep. Yeah.
yeah, and that's why I'm like, I like Miami chances a lot more than I did anybody else chances that's playing that had to do the play-in tournament. I think Miami, even though yeah they were an eighth seed, but if you look at it, like Orlando 47-35, Pacers 47-35, 76ers 47-35, Miami
Mhm.
46-36. Everybody was right
Everybody's
there.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Cleveland 48, Bucks 49, Knicks 50. It wasn't like somebody ran away for well, besides the Celtics, but besides that, that's what I'm saying. In a 7-game
Mhm.
series, you put Miami against Boston. I wouldn't have been surprised at all if Miami pulled the upset. But unfortunately, without Butler, I just he's the heart of
Mhm.
that team. I just don't see anything happening. And again, we lost some good basketball player right there, and so yeah, we just have to settle for watching the Celtics play whoever, and the Celtics just, to your point, probably sweeping the first round and just wait for some exciting second round play. So
All right. So before we move on the Western Conference, I am going to put you on the spot. If you
Yeah.
had to pick a team out of the East to go to the finals right now, who is it?
Okay, obviously playing favorites Celtics,
Okay.
but if I'm sticking to what I said earlier, Pacers.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the
I'm
Pacers a lot.
I'm going to go a little off script, and I'm going to say the Knicks.
Oh,
I
okay.
think the Knicks do something special, and I think the Knicks make it to the finals out of the East.
Nice. Yeah, I like
So,
that. Hey, listen,
yeah.
Madison Square Garden will be rocking.
See, that's
I
what
could
like I've never gotten to see the Knicks in a finals.
Yeah.
I would like to see it. Like I think it would be. I think the ratings would smash like through the roof.
Let me tell you,
So
again, I, and I'll keep saying this. Like, I really like the Pacers. I mean,
mhm,
not they obviously they got Tyrese Halliburton.
mhm,
I mean Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam. Like
mhm.
they Obi Toppin. They got from the Knicks.
Yeah, they do have Obi Toppin. Yeah.
They are a team that's not to be messed with, and so I really like the Pacers. And I like them a lot against if they do play the Celtics. I like them a lot against the Celtics. I really do.
And I mean, I have a soft spot for small market teams, so I would
Yeah.
honestly be really happy if the Pacers made it. I think that would be really
Mm,
cool to see the
yeah.
Pacers in the finals. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the extremely surprising Western Conference.
Yeah, Oklahoma and Minnesota at the top. Like
Jeez,
what?
yeah, like,
Yeah.
and then the Lakers had to do the play-in. The
Yeah.
Warriors are
And they
out.
barely and you said this the other day too.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, you said
hmm
that if Zion played, that the Lakers would not have won that
Yeah.
play-in tournament.
I firmly believe that. I think if Zion went to win out late with that injury, when I think there was
Yeah.
like only 2 or 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I think
Mhm.
the Pelicans win that game.
Yeah, I feel you.
But
But my ultimate question to you, since we talking about it,
mhm.
is the Oklahoma City Thunder for real?
Not this year.
Okay.
I don't. Okay. So I might have already told you this off camera, but if Sacramento beats the Pelicans, I would not be shocked if Sacramento upsets OKC in the first round. Would not be shocked at all. Now, do I think it's going to happen? I'm not. I'm not going to commit to that. I will commit to if Sacramento meets OKC, that series is going minimum 6 games.
Okay.
Um, Again, I know we keep saying this. Again, OKC, I think is a year. It's weird to say this late in the season because it's like, well, if they really are a year early, why are they the 1 seed? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, what you see is what you get. I mean, eventually they should have came back down to earth and
Mm-hmm.
maybe gone in as a 5th or a 6th seed, but they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, kudos to them. Again, would I be surprised if they beat the Kings, which I'm assuming they're playing the Kings with everything that's going on with Zion.
Yeah, he's out. Yeah.
I don't think the Pelicans are going to win that game tomorrow. If they do, great. So I'm assuming that the Thunder are playing the Kings. And I think we both agree that we're assuming that the Celtics are playing the Bulls.
Yes.
Um, so listen, I love it that Oklahoma City is the 1 seed. Again, I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool that Minnesota is the 3 seed. I think it's cool that you had a total tonal shift this year with the Western Conference, which I love. I'm a huge fan of. Like I was
Excuse me.
overseeing the Lakers. I was overseeing the Warriors. One of the reasons I was so excited last year is because you had the Kings as the 3 seed and the Grizzlies as the 2 seed, and you had all these different teams that you don't usually see up there. I mean, even the Rockets made a late season push.
Yeah.
So I am very excited for the Western Conference. I think some of the first round matchups, I think that Mavericks Clippers matchup
Oh man, yeah.
is real juicy. I
Excuse
think the
me.
Timberwolves Suns matchup is going to be great. What is that going to put Anthony Edwards against KD?
Yeah,
I'm
and
assuming that's what the matchup's going to be. But
I think Minnesota is too soon. I don't
okay,
with the Suns' experience. I don't Booker,
mm-hmm.
KD. Who's the other one that they got from Washington?
Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal. Like I just I don't see Minnesota going that far. I mean, Anthony Edwards is a stud. Like
Dude,
I
Anthony
love that
Edwards,
kid's game.
man. I think Anthony Edwards will win the MVP within the next 3 years. Is what I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you with Minnesota. My biggest concern with Minnesota is I don't know the status of Karl Anthony Towns. Now, if they had a healthy cat, I would probably still pick the Suns, but I would have it going 7. So,
I know you just mentioned about the possibility of Sacramento, in the OKC Oklahoma City game. What are the better? So let's assume that the Kings are, because we both think the Kings are going to play Oklahoma City. Would you rather take the Kings over Oklahoma City or the Lakers over the Nuggets?
Oh, the Kings over Oklahoma City all day. Yeah, all day. I do not trust the Lakers against the Nuggets. If the Lakers were literally playing anybody else in the Western Conference playoffs in the first round, I'm probably taking the Lakers.
Yeah. They got a bad draw.
A bad draw, which is kind of their fault.
It would have been better for them to lose and then do this play-in and then play Oklahoma,
Yeah, Now, I will say, I'll go ahead and say this. I'm on board with you. If I had to choose today, I think the Nuggets are going to repeat. I think this is a strong Nuggets team. And I don't necessarily think it's going to happen, but I would not be shocked if they swept the Lakers again.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's going to happen because I think LeBron has too much pride. But
and this is a big if the Lakers can take one in Denver, I might give it a little, okay, let's see where this goes. Now, if Denver takes the first 2, then I'm like, all right, cool. Like that, wishful thinking, guys, so.
I mean, I'll take it farther. If the Lakers win this, I'm assuming the NBA is fixed. I get they have LeBron, but that's you have an Anthony Davis who, again, it's Anthony Davis. He's great, but he's dealt with a lot of injuries this year.
Yeah.
He's already having issues with his back, I think. On paper, there's just nothing. I don't even think it's close with how the Lakers stack up against the Nuggets.
Yeah.
You got Jokic is probably going to win his 3rd MVP. Whether he should or not, I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander should be the MVP, but
again,
that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, we had this conversation before.
But then, Jamal Murray can turn it on in the playoffs.
Yep.
Aaron Gordon's playing well.
Aaron Gordon, yep. Michael
Porter Jr.
Porter Jr. Yeah. That's the one thing I love about this Nuggets team. They made these moves to get these players that you don't have divas and prima donnas and hey, I demand this much. They have players who are there to win and play basketball, and I
lot of their
just love
players
it.
are homegrown. Like they drafted Jokic in the second
Yep.
round, by the way, which
Mhm.
is crazy. They drafted Murray. They drafted Porter.
Yep.
Like a lot of these are just, like drafted guys that they just got to buy into the system.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't think the Lakers stand a chance against the
Yeah.
Nuggets. The only team, and this is a stretch, the only team that I weirdly think could give the Nuggets a run for their money would be the Clippers or the Mavericks.
So let's look at that matchup. I think that
Yeah.
is the most like that matchup. I wouldn't know who to take.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think this goes 7 easy.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then I'm. You know what? I could see it going 6 in the Mavs' favorite. If again because the Mavs will play in LA, I could see the Mavs taking a game. From from the Clippers, you know, at in LA.
Mm-hmm.
But LA every year, I mean, I'm sorry, but Paul George, I think passes prime. Kawhi Leonard,
Yeah.
I think pass. Russell, pass. I just think they just got. It reminds me of the Nets when they tried to get KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. You know,
Yeah.
it has
That
that
they were
vibe to
supposed
it.
to be like the original big 3.
Yeah. And like it has to me, the Clippers has that kind of vibe. And again, I think this is one of those. If the Clippers, if they are out the first round, even the second, I think this team is broken up for next year because I
Yeah,
think
I
you know
agree.
they're building this new that new stadium for the Clippers. It has I don't know if you've seen it. It has like the biggest, you know, like one of those Cowboys screens in the middle of the like
Of
it's
course
like
it
this
does.
yeah, it's ridiculous, dude. Like they showed the angle from like the nosebleed, like the last sleep, and it's literally like watching the TV at home in front of your freaking couch. You know, it's ridiculous. And so yeah, I mean, but again, for this for something like that, for an investment to bring in a new to have a new building, and you have to have players on your team that's going to bring in people to come see them play. And I think that if they don't win, I think it's going to be time for a change where they either do the draft or they make some trades or whatever it is. But they need some new star power in the Clippers organization, I think. If they don't,
Mhm.
again, this all depends on if they don't go far in this playoffs, which I don't think they are. I honestly don't think they are going far at all. So
Yeah, I mean, even if they get past the Mavs, they're most likely meeting the Nuggets.
yeah, yep,
Like, oh man. Because
yeah.
I think we both think the Suns will probably actually take down the T-Wolves, which means the
Yeah, I
Suns
think so. Yeah.
are probably going to meet. Well, I don't know, because I think the Kings are going to beat OKC. So if the Kings beat OKC, that is actually going to throw everything into kind of a tailwind because now you have an 8 over a 1. They're going to have to
Mm-hmm.
reshuffle who meets who.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. The Clippers, man, and the Clippers again, no matter who they have on their team, they just unfortunately historically underperform in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. It looks like we're both picking the Nuggets. If we had to pick today, is that
Yeah. If I had to pick,
yeah?
I'm going with the Nuggets. Like I just don't see anybody until they lose. Until Jokic stop winning MVPs, I'm going with
Yeah.
the Nuggets. So
Well, that's our NBA. Again, everything kicks off. Everything, both hockey and basketball, officially kicks off Saturday. So
Yep.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Speaking of hockey, just to kind of close the loop, so the President's Trophy has been awarded 36 times. Only 8 winners have gone on to win the Stanley Cup. And
Oh
again, I already
wow.
mentioned the last one was the Blackhawks in 2013.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, you just keep saying that the Rangers have no chance this postseason. That's all I'm hearing over and over. You've been saying it the whole show, Joey. Watch the Rangers prove you wrong, Joey. Just watch. Actually, I got a rant. It's for a guy named Joey that keeps denying my Rangers from winning the Stanley Cup.
Listen, the numbers don't lie, man. I'm a superstitious person. I don't know if you are. I believe in curses, but be that as it may. Also, we talked about the average.
You want to stop sharing your screen so we could?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to keep looking at this.
Yeah. It's like, why is we still looking at this for?
The average career length of an NHL player. So, it is actually a lot closer to football than I thought. It's 4.5 years.
Oh.
But the top 25% of players, which I would easily put Ovechkin in, is an average of 12 years.
Okay.
So I guess they just take better care of their health.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the only thing that they knocking out the most is their teeth. So
a lot of teeth.
Yeah.
They're the only people that can lose teeth and people are still attracted to them. It's the only thing where like you can lose teeth and wear it as like a badge of honor. Like, oh yeah, look, like,
look what I did.
Means I played tough. Oh man.
All right, man. Well, hey, listen. Another great episode.
Yeah.
This was our NHL NBA preview. Just make sure continue to follow, like, and subscribe. You can find us on YouTube, Socratic Sports 22. You can find us on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Another great episode, Joseph. Look forward to sharing our brackets next week.
I'm so excited to share the brackets.
Yeah. So we will.
For NBA and NHL.
Yes. So yeah, we'll see where we at next week. And we have the draft next week.
Yeah, the NFL draft. Oh, man. Dude, April is like an insane month for sports. You got the Masters, NBA and NHL playoffs.
Yeah. Which hey, so we will put it on. So I had Scotty winning the Masters. We didn't get to shoot an episode for it, but I wanted to say I did have Scotty winning the Masters. And what's crazy is that Joey had the number 2 pick, and Ludwig. So
all because he went to Tech. Reckham Tech. Pew,
yeah.
Pew, pew, pew.
So
hey, I really hope there's 3 more majors left. I really hope he takes one of them.
Hey, he probably will. So we'll see. But until next time, peace.
Peace.
It's the best show you're not watching.